G'day scrappers, just thought I'd scrap out a couple of all-in-one PCs today. Been meaning to do this video for a while, so thought I'd get it out the way. So I've got a couple of all-in-ones here. First off, we've got a Dell and we've got a nice Asus. They're both Core i5s and Windows 8. They're both very damaged. Just wanted to mention, with the all-in-ones, obviously when you find them, first you want to test them out because they're a really easy sell on the second-hand market if they're in good condition, mostly because they're still quite modern, and some of them actually are touchscreen as well. But the good thing about scrapping out ones that are broken is that we can still, salvage some parts out of this. Maybe the hard drive. Sometimes, they should have good hard drives in there. RAM, maybe even the circuit boards. The only thing is that when they're broken, it's hard to test them out because we can't turn them on. They don't work, so we don't really know what's wrong with them. So when you're selling boards from broken PCs, unless you've got a way to test them out, you're kind of selling them blind. But that's okay. We'll see what we can salvage out of it. But aside from that, we just go for gold recovery. And so what I'll do is I'll start off on the Asus. Okay. Not much there. Alright, so that looks quite nice. I'll just start undoing all the screws from everything. So we've got a drive there, board there. Okay, let me just undo some screws and I'll come back to you. So obviously, pretty much, it's just like scrapping anything really. Just undo every screw you see and just slowly make your way into the heart of it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of an oversized laptop, everything's shielded and screws pretty much everywhere. But, this is, depends on how much you actually scrap. This is kind of quite a bit of fun. If you're not under any time pressure or anything like that, you just plod along, and that's what I enjoy most, scrapping stuff like this, modern, all-in-ones and all that, is because it's a little bit different to scrapping monitors or scrapping PCs. Alright, well that's nice. We've got a beautiful 1 terabyte hard drive. So, and the condition in it, it's absolutely beautiful. Like, these ones came out of an office, so they haven't been left out in the rain or anything like that. So because we've got a 1 terabyte hard drive, immediately we've got, if it works, $10 here. So this is the thing with all-in-ones, is that they can be deceiving. They can look like just big monitors, and so it's easy to just throw them in with monitors thinking, oh yeah, nothing much there. So you just want to keep an eye on that. I'll just keep undoing screws. I'll cut into the video a little bit so you don't have to watch me do every screw. Okay, so it's just a DVD. You can keep these if you like, but you know, if you do, if you scrap a bit, you do get a lot of this sort of stuff. Okay. So there's our nice hard drive, and since it's in this little case, might as well just keep it in there for now. But yeah, 1 terabyte. I'll put it through the hard drive caddy, see if it actually, you know, works, and run some tests on it. 1 terabyte. They're pretty easy to get rid of. I don't really sell hard drives on eBay, but I do have people that come and buy stuff like this off me, so I just put that in stock. Okay, well, so far so good. So they obviously got good configurations. You know, we're probably looking at about 8 gig of RAM, I'd imagine. With a 1 terabyte hard drive, there should be a, you know, probably 8 gigs. All right, so here's the motherboard. Just make sure we're still in picture. All right, so yeah, quite an interesting motherboard. It neither looks like a laptop motherboard nor a PC motherboard. It's a bit of a strange one. But once we take the heatsink off, it'll look a bit more with the CPU there. Yeah, so again, because we don't know if it actually works, it's really complicated to try and sell this motherboard, because you know, it could be a fault anywhere in it. We just don't know, and by the time you ship it out and then get a return and you lose postage money, not really worth trying to sell. We've got a couple of RAM sticks here. 2 or 4? 2 gigabyte. Okay. So 2 gig RAMs, they're still okay. I mean, assuming that they work, but there's no real reason why they wouldn't really work. So we got 2 gigabytes. These definitely you're selling on eBay, so immediately you're getting, say, if you sell these for $6 or $7 each, you know, you're getting about $15 for the pair. There's your $15, you know, right away. 1 terabyte hard drive, another 10 bucks. So already we've gotten $25 value and easy sell items. The rest, you might as well just look at gold recovery, because like I said, hard to sell. And you know, some people buy eWaste from auctions and stuff like that. So that gives you an example. If you're getting these kind of modern ones, even Windows 8, you know, we've got 4 gig RAM, good hard drive. You know, you might even sell that for a couple of bucks. Someone might need it. So yeah, there's no problem going for gold recovery when you, you know, we've already pulled out any value. Like if you bought this as an auction item, you might pay, you know, I wouldn't pay more than $5 for it. But it's up to you. Even if you did have to pay $10 for each one of these, and you knew that they weren't, you know, you'd want to open one up to make sure that the hard drive and RAM is still in there. And it's quite easy to get your to make a bit of money out of that. Obviously, the whole idea of, you know, trying to get scrap is trying to get it free, or as close to free as possible. Let me just get around here. Okay, so this really, I mean, what's the chances of anyone wanting to buy something like that? You know, you got a little fan there, so we've got a nice heat sink. It's mostly copper. You know, we just remove these metal bits. We've got some copper, a little bit of aluminium radiator, copper running through, so that's cool. What I normally do with these is I throw this part into copper aluminium radiator, get pretty good price for it anyway, so I don't spend too much time on them. Straight into copper aluminium radiator, or copper aluminum radiator, and obviously most of this will go into straight number 2 copper, candy copper. There we go. We've got some silicon stuff. So that's it. So we're just basically now just salvaging whatever we can for precious metal recovery. We've got a nice CPU here, and immediately I can see that it's going to be one to sell. It's an i5. So these modern style, as soon as you see them that look like that, as opposed to the older style that looks like that, as soon as you see ones like that, you know that they're going to be sellable. This one here is a Core i5. Yeah, it's a really nice i5, and I find i5s actually sell better than i7s, believe it or not. Probably because people are looking to upgrade a little bit older PCs. So we could get anywhere between, I'd say between $15 to $30 for this CPU alone. Okay, and there is no reason why it would be faulty. I've sold probably 50 CPUs on eBay. I've never had one returned, and this is how I handle them. So beautiful. Now obviously the motherboard again, because it came with the i5, it suits the i5. You could try to sell this, but because I don't know what's wrong with it, I'm not going to risk it. But for some people, you've got great value here again. So really, even on the second-hand market, if you can find these and you're into scrapping and gold recovery and you just want stuff to scrap, well, you know, you can get, you know, we've already got our value out of it. So, you know, this modern stuff can be worth just going out and buying straight out, second-hand. Look on Craigslist or Gumtree. But it's one of my favorite kinds of scrapping is modern stuff, IT stuff, and you find all kinds of little treasures. Okay, so it's not much of a motherboard really. Yeah. Okay, on this side, okay, so I've mentioned before, these chips here don't really have much as far as gold recovery. So it's probably not worth depopulating a board like this, simply because you're not going to get anything out of the main chip, Sure, you got you know, a couple other chips here, but as you can see, there's really very little value here as far as precious metal recovery. The other side, we've got no chips at all. The only thing we've got these little little cards here that kind of like slot cards. You know, they've got the little gold fingers. Okay, so gold recovery wise, you know, we trim off those tiny little fingers. Not much of a board. Another one here. But, you know, they still are pretty good gold plating on them. Just like RAM. So there you go. So it's doesn't weigh much at all. If you actually sell this as scrap motherboard, most buyers will want you to remove this metal bracket, right? Especially when they're steel. So you'll have to remove that. Obviously, you remove the battery, yeah. And this weighs honestly about 1/4 pound, maybe 1/2 pound. So yeah, scrap value, not a lot, but still, it's something. Okay, all right. Now we're going down into the actual LCD section. We should have a finger strip board here. We might as well got another little card here. But this one, this was the Asus. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I got out of this. I didn't expect it to be, well, I knew it was going to be i5, but I didn't expect it to have a 1 terabyte hard drive. 4 gig of RAM. You know, it would have been nice if there were 2 4 gig modules rather than 2 gigs. But beggars can't be choosers. So not much here, just a basic circuit board. Put this into mid-grade or peripheral board, depending on your buyer. Okay, so just a speaker system. You know, you could always sell it as, you know, you put this in a box, and add them up. Once you get about 30 or 40 of them, you can always try and sell a box of all-in-one speakers. People might use it for different projects. Who knows? Okay. Some ribbon wire with some gold. Yeah, it's most likely gold flashing. So if it is gold flashing, which most likely it is, very little gold recovery, but you still keep them because it all adds up, you know. Okay, I'll just get this panel off. Okay. Beautiful. There's our screen. So, finger strip board. Just need to get a small screwdriver. You probably hear my chickens in the background. They're always whinging. Probably the best fed chickens in the country. They're always got something to complain about. Okay. So there we go. This one here has actually got a little tantalum capacitor. Just a little bonus. As you can see, the fingers. But again, this is your flashing or ENIG, whatever you want to call it. Well, that definitely is. You can see the difference in color. See how it's really light, almost looks brassy. Well, that's ENIG, E-N-I-G, very little gold. Here, these are a little bit thicker, so you know, they could be plated, but yeah, why not? It's actually a very, very paper thin board, this one. Very thin compared to regular LCD monitors. So, you know, obviously they're just getting thinner and thinner. But value-wise, it's actually better. The less board there is, then, you know, it gives us better recovery per pound because there's not much. So if this is the future, then, yeah, because selling this as like a mid-grade board or what's the other word? Well, just a mid-grade board, you're really not going to get much. It weighs next to nothing, so it's only worth like 2 or 3 cents. So you might as well keep them for gold recovery yourself, maybe sell them in a bulk. Obviously you've got little MLCCs, resistors, tiny little IC chips, the tantalum. So there's a few things you can pick off it. Okay, so the rest of this, some people will throw this into scrap steel because their scrapyards will accept it. Some scrapyards won't accept LCD monitors, and if I was a scrapyard, I wouldn't accept them as scrap steel, simply because we've got mercury inside here. So, you know, if you're conscious about the environment, which really you should be, send these to a proper recycler that recycles LCDs, or an eWaste recycler. So that's what I do. Rather than trying to get 20 cents in scrap metal, I just give these back to the recycler, and they can properly recycle this stuff. All right, so that was the ASUS. Mostly 1 terabyte hard drive, a beautiful i5 CPU, should get pretty good money for that. 2 2GB RAMs, and you know, these can be used in laptops as well, so quite easy thing to sell if you're trying to, you know, as long as you sell them for less than whatever they're selling for on eBay, you'll sell them first. Got the finger strip board. Got some gold ribbons, a couple of these tiny little, what I call slot cards, bit of extra gold recovery there, got some copper, some little boards like this. So that's it. Oh, obviously the motherboard. I'll just throw this straight into scrap motherboards. So there you go. That's the first one, the ASUS. Hope that was a little bit of fun. I had quite a bit of fun doing it. I've got a few of this model, so you know, I'm looking forward to just getting this CPU and the hard drive. The RAMs, I give them away, usually. But, there we go. So we've got, say if we get $15 for the pair, so we get $25 for this, that's $40. $10 for that, that's $50. $50 for these 3 items. The rest, you may as well just go for gold recovery. You've made 50 bucks from one scrap all-in-one PC. Okay, let's get onto this Dell. This would have been a really nice PC when it was working and in good condition. It was dropped on the corner and the whole thing split open. They got rid of it. So it looks pretty similar but I reckon just a little bit better quality. But that's just my opinion. Okay, so we've got some bigger screws. Okay, well that helps, eh? Okie dokie. Well, yep, definitely different. As you can see, we've got a nice little hard drive here. So that's, if it's a good one, it's probably even better than regular size. And okay, and the RAM, there's only one RAM stick, but it's a 4 gig RAM. So when it comes to 4 gigabyte, that's when we're really, you know, starting to get pretty good money. So you know, very easy to sell a 4 gigabyte. It's a genuine Samsung. We should get pretty good money for this. Don't really have to sell it very cheap, unlike the 2 gigabyte. We can sit on that. Another thing I do is sometimes I get good laptops that are worth selling or worth keeping, and so I pull out, like if it's got 2 gig, I pull it out, throw in a 4 gig, double the RAM. All of a sudden you've got a much better system. Okay. So a little bit different, but quite nice. What do we got here? Yep, it's 1000 gigabytes, so 1 terabyte. When they're 1 terabyte in this size, these are awesome. You can use these to upgrade laptops, all kinds of things, even just backup data. It's this is better than the other one. So far we've got 2 top-notch items, plus the fact that they got bigger screws. So it just saves a lot more time. Too easy. Same deal, just a fan, and again, this part copper aluminium radiator, this part we're going for the copper. There we go. Beautiful. Interesting. Well, that's a lot of screws. Imagine if I had to do it by hand. You know, it just saved probably 10 minutes. I'm not sure how many screws I just done, but probably at least 20. Okay. Another fan. A couple of speakers, we can put that again. We just build them up and sell them in bulk lots. More screws. Yeah, not a bad looking motherboard actually, quite pretty. Other side, again we've only got the silicon centered chip, so hardly worth depopulating. Couple of chips, virtually blank on that side, nothing on this side, so you know, yeah, it's amazing. You know, there could have been chips on here depending on the configurations, but as you can see, nothing at all. But we do want that. Oh yeah. So it's the SRICG, 3 gigahertz, i5, beautiful. I think this one's actually could be even a little bit better than the last one, but again, so we'll say $25, easy money. Motherboard, once again, I'm only selling this as scrap, so we need to remove this bracket. Okay. And that. Ready for sale. Not much weight. There you go. As I said, very little as far as gold recovery. Precious metal recovery, probably very little again. You know, got a little bit of MLCCs, not a lot. So definitely do not depopulate something like that. You'll be probably losing money. Okay, we've got a little power supply unit. Actually, this little power supply unit, because it's so small but not so too small, it's probably best to you probably could sell this. So I'd be looking to looking up that model number. It's most likely that it still works, obviously. So yeah, keep that one. That's a sellable item. At least $7 or $8. can even keep this cord, because you know they cost money too. It's just for the DVD drive. Okay, so this one here, you know, might be worth just keeping as a spare. You never know. I certainly wouldn't sell it. You just wouldn't get much money for it. Another little board here. Okay, it's only a, you know, mid-grade board, but if you can see the really nice MLCCs, really nice and chunky, definitely take them. And then, I mean, take off these 3 big MLCCs, and then you can still sell this as a mid-grade or yeah, mid-grade board. Okay. Well, I think this one was a lot quicker. It just seems like it just sort of happened. I'll just take this off and we'll get to the finger strip board and we'll be done. I think I'm already done. Wow, that's a tiny finger strip board. Alright, just popped in. Again, very, very thin. But yeah, so as you can see up top, that's definitely ENIG. That either ENIG or a little bit, tiny bit of plating, but it's you know, it's got finger all the way through, and the back can't really get that off. But as you can see, there's plating underneath, or ENIG flashing underneath this white stuff, so we might be able to get to that. But yeah, not bad. Sometimes people ask me, like in these frames from LCDs and stuff, you got the little brass bits in there. So definitely not gold, but they're brass. You know, usually just, if you can get something nice and thin, pop it in and just lever them out. There we go. One ready for recycling. So, we got our finger strip board. We've got our little motherboard, very light, about 1/4 of the weight of a regular motherboard. This power supply that will, you know, it's original Dell, so definitely I'm keeping this one. It's just the right size. A magnificent little hard drive, 1 terabyte. We're definitely going to get good value for that. I'd say $15 at least. 4 gigabyte RAM, another $15. 30. And we should get $25 to $30 for this. Easy. $60, $5, and nothing here. A little bit of copper, DVD, little board, copper aluminium radiator. That was pretty darn good. And how quick was that? If I was rushed, you know, if I rushed, I'd probably do it in a few minutes, you know, a couple minutes. But so excellent, you know, really good value to scrap. We've got our money, we've got our bit of gold recovery. That was awesome. That was the Dell all-in-one. All right, guys, well, hopefully that was a bit of fun for you. And keep scrapping, and I'll catch you next time soon with hopefully something else interesting.